Welcome to the latest episode of Tech Talks with UNC Blue Sky Innovations. My name is Bhargav, and I'm the computer vision engineer. And today I'm talking with our Chief Innovation Officer, Stephen King. Thanks for being here. And today we'll be talking about the interesting topic in the world of 3D modeling, neural radiance fields, aka NeRF technology. So to start off, what is a NeRF?
Well, I'm going to change things up. So typically in these tech talks, I'm the one answering the questions, but Bhargav here really is the expert on NeRF. And as he briefed me for this, I felt that he is the one who you need to be hearing from. So I'm going to switch this up a little bit. So what is NeRF and how do we use it?
Yeah, so NeRF technology is a computer vision technique which is used to create a 3D output of a object or a 3D object using a very few number of images as input. So this is comparable to something like photogrammetry, where basically you take a video or multiple images of an object and then recreate it into a 3D model, which can then be used in the virtual worlds, such as virtual reality, augmented reality, or mixed reality.
So we're creating these 3D worlds in places where without actually building the 3D model, we just use imagery to do it. Right?
Yes.
So it's similar to photogrammetry, which we use in the lab. So how is this different than photogrammetry?
So photogrammetry is probably photogrammetry is kind of like the old technology of 3D modeling, I would say. So photogrammetry and NeRF are very similar in the sense that it takes a number of input images to create a 3D model, but NeRFs are kind of like the step above of photogrammetry because you can create a 3D model of an object using much fewer images as input for the model. So it's able to use leverage deep learning and machine learning in order to predict what the object looks like from any number of views.
All right, so we have lots of inputs of images or video that's coming in. It goes into a NeRF algorithm, but then how does it actually get to the game engine, or just how does this work that I could use it in any 3D world?
Yeah, so first of all, there's many different NeRF papers and models out there. It totally depends on your use case. But essentially, yes, you take multiple images of whatever object you want to create a 3D model of, and then you put it into this deep learning, basically a neural network, and then it trains on its own data. So it's not trained beforehand. It's not pre-trained. So it trains on your own input data, and then it outputs what synthesized views or synthesized frames. And then those synthesized frames can then be turned into a 3D model using this algorithm known as the marching cubes algorithm. Basically, it's a similar algorithm in medical imaging to recreate a 3D mesh from 2D images. And now you have this 3D object, which you can then easily export into Unity or any other game engine.
So if I just have one photograph of my house, you can't build a 3D model of my house.
No, that's correct.
You just have to have lots of different angles moving
Right.
around. So similar to photogrammetry, but it's just doing with a different process.
Yeah, a different process, and it's able to predict better than photogrammetry. So you can have fewer images of your house and still get a nice 3D model of it.
Great. So we're always looking at the latest research, and you're always sending me stuff, and I'm sending you stuff around NeRF, and it's always a great thing. So there's a lot of papers out there. There's kind of a lot of discussion around it. But if you were wanting to get started and try to experiment with NeRF, where would you start? What would be the paper or whatever you'd go to?
I would totally recommend NVIDIA's latest paper on NeRF technology. It's called Instant NGP. So they built this amazing program which makes it super easy for anyone who doesn't have any knowledge of computer vision or NeRF technology to get started. Essentially, they have the code online. You just input your video or whatever frames you took of your object, and it will open up a nice GUI or an application where you can see your NeRF model being trained in real time and immediately output a 3D model.
Cool. And then kind of lastly, can you tell us a little bit about what are some of the things we're doing in the lab and how we're leveraging NeRF to help us with our different projects?
Yeah, for sure. So in the lab, we're working on a volumetric capture project. So essentially, volumetric capture is the recording of a human or a person performing an action and then creating a 3D model or an animation out of them, which can then be used in virtual reality, augmented reality, or mixed reality. So the way volumetric capture is being done at the lab leverages NeRF technology as compared to traditional photogrammetry techniques. So this way we can use whatever cameras we want. They don't have to be depth cameras. and recreate a 3D model of a person.
Great. And we'll tell more about volumetric capture and stuff later, but I'm glad you were able to share a little bit about that. So thank you for taking the time to talk with us and kind of me switching this up on you. I appreciate you being a good sport about that.
Thank you very much.
Continue to follow us on our social media accounts and look for the next Tech Talk soon.